not the White House, that changed talking points about the unclassified data that could be discussed when Susan Rice went out on the Sunday talk shows to discuss what was known about the Benghazi situation. Is that something that Republicans are choosing to ignore, the facts of that, when they're trying to draft a letter like this to almost to wreck her reputation before she's even nominated?
Yeah, and frankly, it doesn't matter what the House of Representatives thinks. So they have no say in the process. I think this is more of a headlines game, frankly. This is press release politics, which is the last thing we need right now. But what is important is to look at the White House did put her out there. She did her job. I'll give her that. She spoke with the talking points she had, what else she knew. But the fact is that the administration to put her out there with misleading information. And that's the clear case. It was simply not a riot over some tape, that movie that was made. And that's where they have to look at, and even Senator Feinstein agrees, they have to follow that trail. Why was the decision made to even put her there in the first place when really she shouldn't have gone out there? The country wasn't ready to hear, they weren't ready to give the country all the facts, so they probably shouldn't have put her out there to begin with.
I think we also have to remember, if you read her statement on that Sunday, she always said this is the best information we have now. She left open that there were many questions, and now we know that if the stories were changing, it was at least, it was mostly because the CIA was changing the story.
But you know what, that's for political reasons. That they had to answer it. They could have done it in a completely different setting. They gave the best information
that they had at the time.
They shouldn't have put her out on the talk shows. They could have done it from behind a podium. They could have decided what we needed to know.
Imagine if they hadn't talked at all. Then the story would have been they wouldn't answer any questions on the Sunday show.
They wanted to look like they were going out there.
If she were to reveal something more, to tip the hand more, she would be, they would have labeled it to be
incompetent.
She's unfit because she's revealing classified information.
I'm not saying she is just an arm of the administration. Let's make that clear. Now, if you want to talk about whether she's should be nominated for Secretary of State or not, this incident should not be the thing that prevents her nomination. I mean, if you have a problem with it, that's fine, but it should not be that.
We agree on that.
One thing that Susan brought up, headline politics. So, John, I want to ask you, because MSNBC analyst Karen Finney wrote a piece for The Hill talking about Rice's potential nomination. And the last part is what caught my eye, saying the GOP's continued focus on attacking the ambassador's use of talking points also appears to be personal. Some have suggested the real issue could be a belief among Republicans that Ambassador Susan Rice has simply been promoted high enough. Is Susan Rice becoming a scapegoat in all of this?
Oh, she's obviously becoming a scapegoat, Thomas. And I mean, Susan and I agree. It shouldn't be about these talking points. It should be about her record. She has a long record in international work, first with the Clinton administration and now has served very well this administration. And so the idea that they're acting like she's some kind of secretary who, like this, some kind of junior person who had no business being out there, they're also acting like, quite honestly, they're saying things like she's incompetent, and that her talking points weren't very bright, which rings some bells for many women and people of color, that there's some way that she's being treated in a condescending, demeaning way when she's a brilliant person and a Rhodes Scholar with a career full of accolades and has plenty of record. If you want to talk about something she did under President Clinton in Africa or something that she's done as UN ambassador, talk about that. But also to call her on the carpet and say she's got to come on TV and apologize, what kind of humiliation ritual are they looking for?
Doug, is this putting the cart before the horse?
Well, I mean, to Joan's point, what's rich is many of these Senate Republicans also voted to confirm by an overwhelming majority Condoleezza Rice to be Secretary of State after obviously some missteps on the intelligence that led to the war in Iraq. And you never heard John McCain or Senator Lindsey Graham back then. In fact, they defended her. And that was nothing at all like what's going on here with Ambassador Rice. And I do think it's unfortunate because, the priorities here should be to find out what happened, bring those terrorists to justice, and make sure it never happens again. And unfortunately, Republicans are still, acting as though we're in the middle of a campaign. And I think that's really unfortunate. And incidents like this, you rarely see them immediately politicized like this has. And I think that's not a healthy way to conduct this investigation.
All right, real